What's up, everybody? So Harrison Butker is in a lot of the news lately, and I'm sure most of you have heard what he's done. You know, he gave a commencement speech at a Catholic university, and he said some things. Now, break this down. Basically, his speech would be akin to a church having a guest pastor for the weekend, and he was saying things that a pastor would say, and everybody's upset because he said what they consider to be homophobic and misogynistic and these things. He had the audacity to suggest that women would be happy doing what is natural for women to do, and men to do also. And somehow that's wrong. It's wrong for him to say that. And the problem is that, you know, we're telling everybody in the world that he is such a piece of crap. You know, he did all this, and, you know, he said these things. You know, but while Colin Kaepernick was doing his kneeling thing and whatnot, putting his fists up and everything else, you know, it's okay for him to do that. And he was doing that on company time, on the football field and whatnot. Whereas what Harrison Butker did was it was in his own capacity. Yeah, he got invited to that school to do the speech because he was a football player and everything, and he was, you know, he won the Super Bowl and everything. But when he was there as himself, his own entity and whatnot. He wasn't representing the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's unfortunate that the NFL wants to, you know, strike back at him and whatnot. It's like, you know, what he, you know, and, you know, because of what he said, nothing he said was very controversial. It is today, but 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been controversial. You know, certainly when I was a child, it wouldn't be controversial. But now, for some reason, it's a problem. And it's because we've listened to the lunatics for so long in this country that we've got everything completely twisted around to where nobody knows what's up and what's down anymore, or what's left and what's right. You know, we have people out there who think that, you know, people should be, you know, like, if for some reason, if you suggest any sort of traditionalist behavior, then you're some sort of a bigot or a phobe or ist or whatever. And it's like, I'm not, you know, you can do what you want to do in society. And from what I heard from that speech, he said, you know, he was saying you can do whatever it is that you want to do in society. But in his opinion, and from where he's coming from and his stance, and most likely the stance of that university, it being a religious school, that it would, you know, that is, you know, their stance. You know, that's what they believe in. You find a Christian that's a practicing Christian, and you say these things to them, and they're going to agree with this. If you find, you know, an atheist, they're most likely not. Well, I don't know. Maybe atheists will, but a lot of atheists seem to be on the left these days, so, you know, they're probably not going to agree with it. But, you know, that's their choice. They don't have to agree with it. They didn't go to that school. They didn't go to that graduation. It's really none of their business. But they're making a big deal out of this guy saying this, and, you know, it's like, all he said was normal things that would have been perfectly acceptable years ago, and now we live in such a weird clown world that you can't say anything that's normal or reasonable without somebody being offended by it. And just because somebody gets offended by it, somebody has a problem with what you say, doesn't mean that you're wrong. Most likely, if somebody's getting offended by, you know, by that, then you're actually over the target. You're not getting flack unless you're over the target. So when you say something like the grass is green and water is wet and sky is blue, and somebody's getting upset about it, then that's because you're over the target and you're in the right spot and you're saying the right things. Because there's people out there who simply want to be a contrarian about everything. They want to tear down society, tear down everything that we know to be normal and wholesome and whatnot, and turn it into this crazy freak show. Unfortunately, it's my opinion that most of these people who do this stuff are actually useful idiots for a higher power of you know, of people who are pulling the strings, telling them what to think, telling them what to say, the talking box, you know, because they they really want to destroy this country, our way of life and whatnot. And, you know, not just this country, but most of the Western world in general. They want to destroy us and turn us into some sort of, you know, a different place anyway. But they want, I personally believe they want to destroy it so they can rebuild it however they want to. And it would be much easier for them to be as authoritarian as they possibly can if they didn't have the Bill of Rights stand in their way. And so I really think that's what it is. They want to create chaos. They want to create division. They want to create hatred amongst the people. So some sort of a civil war sparks off, or civil unrest or whatever, and they can throw the, you know, they can throw the Bill of Rights, the Constitution out the window. And, you know, because the government is limited in what they can and can't do to the people as it stands, because there is, you know, documents that restrict them from doing it. And most people in this country do believe in that. But, you know, when it comes to the average left today, they don't believe in free speech. They believe they should be able to say whatever they want to. That, you know, they can talk about their pronouns all the time, all they want. They can talk about, you know, say things like women's right to choose, which, you know, whatever. You know, they can say all kinds of whack stuff all day long, anytime they want to. But if you dare say anything that they seem to be deemed to be an istophobe, then all of a sudden your speech needs to be censored and shut down by any means necessary. And this is the problem that we find ourselves in this country now, and in the West in general, is that we have people out there who are very, very willing to put their boot on you, but scream bloody murder if anybody, you know, if they think anybody's putting the boot on them. And it's like, you know, you can't have it both ways. If you want freedom, you need to allow other people to have freedom. If you want to be able to say the things that you want to say, then you need to allow other people to say what they want to say. It's not right. It's absolutely not right to demand that you get carte blanche to say whatever it is that you want in the world, and nobody else has a right to respond or say what they think in return, or you know, for themselves. It's absolutely unjust for you to think that you're so special, that your words are so profound and so impactful that everybody should listen to you, but nobody should listen to anybody else. You know, the whole principle of free speech is that we should have free speech no matter who it offends. Even things that you call hate speech or insensitive or anything like that, it's to be allowed in this society, because who gets to decide what's hate speech, what's insensitive, what's offensive? Because what you deem to be offensive today, you might be able to shut down. Somebody might deem your speech offensive tomorrow and shut you down. So this is why it's important, and I really wish people would stop, take a step back, and think about what they're advocating for. They're wanting to destroy this man's career because he said that women would be happy doing what's natural for human beings to do, and that it's wrong to unalive unborn children. That is normal stuff. That is normal stuff that most normal people think is very proper and reasonable. You know, the other things, you know, whatever you think about what he said, he was talking to a sympathetic audience. He wasn't at a Biden rally or a National Organization of Women, you know, function or whatever. He was at a Catholic college speaking as a commencement speaker, which, like I said, is about the same as having a guest preacher come in and do a sermon at your church. So think about that. Stop being hysterical, and maybe calm down a little bit. But I don't think Harrison did anything wrong. I think he was absolutely right, and I agree with everything he said. So if you want to come after me, that's fine too. I'll see you in the next one.